strikes.
Here's Jack Musa on the breakaway, looking for two, he's got it! Jack Musa across to O'Hara, he scores! That's a program record for point streak!
Here's Santos Mills on the doorstep, they score!
Hello and welcome to the 12th edition of the UMass Hockey Preview Show presented by UMass Journalism, along with my good friend Jacob Repper. I am John Ruggiero, back at it again on Zoom, episode 2 on Zoom. Jacob, how are we feeling today?
Feeling great, John. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk to Vaclav Nestrasil, UMass freshman forward, in a little bit, and just looking forward to a big week, John. We're coming into the new year pretty hot, and there's a lot to talk about. This is a big, important time of the year for UMass, as you know, John, and it's do or die right now. I think it's fair to say that.
Sure is, Jacob. UMass, after this weekend, their record is 10-10. That's also the record of Merrimack, who they will be facing off against this weekend. We'll dive into that a little bit later, but we're going to start things off looking back to the series against BU. Jacob, it was a loss for the Merrimen in Game 1.
That's for sure, and it's unfortunate because we made the trip up. We set up the YouTube equipment and everything to call a 1-0 game, which is unfortunate for the Minutemen. But look, Coach Pandolfo and Coach Carvel had pretty similar sentiment after the game. Both teams played really well. You can't fault UMass for a lot. The one thing you could kind of get frustrated with is the shots on goal. That happened twice this weekend, just 18 shots for UMass. But the big storyline I told you after the game, and Coach Carvel really hit on this pretty hard, is Michael Robel. He was phenomenal, and UMass needs him to be good in the second half of the year. Unfortunately, just couldn't get a lot of offense, John, and I know you were on the call for that. Did it feel like UMass was stagnant in the offensive department?
Definitely, Jacob. I think they finished with 18 shots against 30 for BU, and poor Michael Robel saved 29 of 30 in a game back where he was really tested. And UMass just couldn't put up anything on the board. Mellenbacher hit the post. I think they did have their fair share of chances, but the story is in the shots. It was mostly BU. UMass could have squeezed one past Yegorov, but the opportunity just was not there. So BU came away with the 1-0 win. But as for Game 2, UMass, they scored a couple of goals. They won that one 2-0. Funny enough, the goalie was not in the net for for either of those goals. Vaclav Nestrasil wrapped the puck around the net after he took it from Yegorov. We asked him about that on the show. We'll talk to him. You'll see that later. But a big win for the Minutemen on the road. Musa scored the empty netter. The shots still weren't exactly there, but Michael Robel performed brilliantly, 26 saves in the shutout win.
And that's the storyline here, John, as we talked about it last week. Nick Van Tassel down with an injury. They get Justin Kerr back. He did play this weekend, looked pretty good. Coach Carvel actually talked after the first game how UMass's face-off department, another area for concern, if you will, 34% in that first game, 41.5% in the second game. Justin Kerr had a shoulder injury, and that's one of the reasons why. That's a guy that's 70% on the team coming into this series, but UMass really needs to improve in that department. It's frustrating, but as they try to keep bodies healthy and make a strong push here, Robel's the storyline. He really is. He said he went back to Czechia. He felt regrouped and refocused for the first time in a couple of years, spending Christmas with them, and that's what you have to see. It's the lead. It's on every paper in UMass is Michael Robel is back. Without him being back, John, you know, UMass can't go anywhere. It's just to put it bluntly.
Yeah, Jackson Irving, he did his best. He did pretty well, but there was just a couple of games where UMass was giving up too many goals, and didn't happen this past weekend. Obviously, only one goal given up for the Minutemen between the two games. And Jacob, you mentioned faceoffs and injuries there. I think Carvel said Justin Kerr not exactly at 100% as of this point. And don't forget, in that first game, Mikey D'Angelo had to exit halfway through due to a stomach illness. So the faceoff percentage did improve night to night, 34-41, like you said, but still some room for improvement there. But Jacob, you attended the media session with Carvel earlier this week. What were some thoughts that he shared with you?
There's a couple things that you got to watch out for. One of them being the co-captain for the Minutemen right now, Owen Murray. He said he's been dealing with kind of a nagging injury since the Stonehill series. He said there's games where, or there's days where he doesn't feel good and he's pushing through it, and then there's times where it's perfectly fine. This being a lower body injury. He even said he hasn't really seen an injury like this. Wouldn't go fully into detail, but he said Owen Murray's a guy that's going to do what's best for the team. He said if it's best for the team for him to not play because of the injury, he's going to do that, and if it's best for him to play because of the injury, he will. So that's just something to monitor. Coach Carvel said also this defense is the strong part of the team. They knew that coming into the year. They lost. I mean, we talked about on our first show how many forwards from last year, John. So he knew defense was going to be the anchor of this team. So for Owen Murray, that's frustrating. That puts more of an emphasis on guys like Lucas Olvestad and some younger players like Landon Nyes. But he also talked about Landon Nyes and said it's in the details for young guys like him. He mentioned Jack Galonic as well. He says they have so much upside and they're probably going to be here for a long time. But even Nestrasil, details, details, details. That's the biggest difference between a first-year player and a fourth-year player.
And that's the difference between a winning record and a losing record right now for the Minutemen. And we talked about it so much coming into the year. 8 newcomers for this Minutemen team, or actually, that's 8 freshmen, 11 newcomers, the 3 transfers, obviously. And you can talk about the newcomers all day, but the Minutemen haven't exactly meshed together, I think, the way Greg Carvel wanted them to. But there's hope into this new year. Obviously, a split against the BU Terriers. But as for one of those young freshmen, we talked to him. So we're going to send it to our interview with Vaclav Nestrasil here on the UMass Hockey Preview Show. And now joining us here on the UMass Hockey Preview Show is UMass's own Vaclav Nestrasil right after practice. Thank you so much for joining us, Vaclav. How's it going today?
Everything's good. Yeah, after practice, gonna end of the day, so everything's good. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, thanks for joining us. We're just gonna jump right into it here. We're gonna start with this past weekend. Obviously, you scored what ended up being the game-winning goal against the BU Terriers on Saturday night. You were tapping your stick, trying to call for the puck from Yegorov there. Can you give me the insight into what was going on the ice there?
Yeah, I think it was their mistake, probably a bad change or something. They didn't know what to do, and the goalie left the puck behind. I have no idea if my stick taps were doing any of the, like, if it kind of threw him off or not. But I just saw that puck. I saw that he's kind of messed up. He didn't know what to do, and I just grabbed the puck. Luckily, because I didn't see it at first. He kind of was blocking it with his body, and then I kind of get the grab of it, and luckily I scored.
Vaslav, Coach Carvel talked earlier this week about how he seems like you guys have bought in a lot over break. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've seen from the team so far to start the 2026 and where you think you guys could go from here?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the scores, obviously, in our last 4 games, we only got 1 goal, and that's really good. And I think the team's pretty dialed in. We focus on details way more, and I can see in practice we're way better than we were last year, and I just hope it's going to continue on going.
Going to look back here to the World Juniors, if you don't mind, obviously coming off of a silver medal with Team Czechia. What were the overall emotions playing for your country on the international stage?
Yeah, it's a dream come true, obviously. I've been watching that tournament ever since I was, 5, 6 years old. And, to get that invite and to play in front of that big stage, in Minnesota was a huge kind of a dream come true for me. And obviously get a medal 4th in a row, which was even better. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being with the guys I kind of grew up with. And I'm excited for next year as well.
You had a soundbite that went a little bit viral in regard to Anton Frondell, a fellow draft pick of Chicago. What was that like playing against him? And then can you tell me about the draft process? You have Mason West. I mean, you guys had a lot of guys drafted in that first round in Chicago. What was that like for you?
That was another dream come true. I had a lot of dream comes true in 2025. Yeah, it was just I think Chicago had great draft picks, obviously Anton and Mason, and it was incredible, once in a lifetime moment. And then we kind of bonded together next week when we all met in Chicago. I was with Anton in the hotel room for a week, so we kind of grew up closely together, and it was a great week. And I think the organization made great picks, and it was shown at World Juniors as well, because we met in the finals. And playing in Sweden was tough. They were the better team, but games like that, they give us learning points, and I'm definitely gonna grow from that game.
Michael Rabel, obviously from your country of Czechia. What has his presence meant to you? Obviously, he also played in the World Junior Championship.
Yeah, he helped me a lot throughout his past 4 months. I mean, he's been huge for me, obviously my mentor. So, yeah, we've been really close. He's probably one of my closest buddies in here, and I appreciate everything he does for me. And whatever he needs something from me, I give it to him. Whatever I need something from him, he helps me as well. So that's good.
I'm curious, your dad was sounding off a little bit on Twitter about just recruiting guys perhaps from Czechia to play college hockey. Are you in touch with anybody, any younger hockey players over there, and trying to get in your ear like, hey, you got to come out to Amherst and play over here with Coach Carvel?
Well, obviously, yeah, I've been recruiting Czech guys and helping the staff kind of get in more Czech guys, and hopefully we'll see a few other guys come in as soon as possible. And obviously, it's a great route, and I think I'm kind of exposing that route to Czech guys and Czech hockey players, and me and Big Mike, obviously. And it's gonna be great if we get another few guys in here and kind of boost this program as well with our Czech culture.
Are you taking the guys out to any state dinners? I mean, Coach Carvel's got to give you a check or two to be spending on some of these recruits.
Yeah, he probably should. He probably should. That's a good idea. I'm gonna talk to him about that.
Make it
Don't go
happen.
too crazy. That might come back to you, Jacob.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Hey, I love steak dinners.
but Jacob mentioned your dad there, Vaslav. What has your family's support meant to you over the years?
I mean, they're the reason why I'm doing this call right now. Obviously, I wouldn't be even near close where I am right now if they haven't supported me throughout my whole life. We're a crazy hockey family, but even though my dad didn't want me to play hockey, he already had enough with my brothers, and I still kind of grew up with that. And I think he's been supporting me ever since. And I know if I, played tennis or if I didn't do anything at all, he would still support me and kind of, drive my passion. And I'm really glad that both my parents are giving me, 120% of their lives and just trying to achieve my goals. And I'm really glad for that.
Give me the pregame meal. Do you have anything that you got to get right before you put the skates on? What's your go-to?
Chipotle, and it's usually before I go to the rink. I get a nap usually around 90 minutes, and when I wake up, it's already before my dorm, so I just go get in, eat in, and then go to the rink.
That's the good life.
Yeah.
How important are routines, right? I mean, you don't want anything to get jumbled up. Are you any sort of superstitious when it comes to that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of is. I definitely am. And it's a good thing. It's not a good thing. It can be, both of that sides. And I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So when something messes up, I don't get, thrown over. And I think everybody has a simple routine. Everybody does something that kind of suits him. And it's definitely a part of hockey and sports at all.
What about off the ice? There's got to be something. I mean, with your schedule, it's a crazy freshman year and of the amount of games. And what do you like to do off the ice to kind of decompress? And is it with some of the other guys, or do you kind of just disconnect a little bit?
Yeah, usually when obviously there's no school right now, so it's kind of more free and we have more time. But during the school year, you usually get out at like 8 a.m. from the dorm and get back at like 7 8 p.m. So there's not many things to do. You got to do your homework and you got to eat and all that stuff. So there's not much things to do. But right now we have a great schedule, so we end up it's 106. We're done. So we have the rest of the day. We're probably gonna hang out with the guys. Maybe play some video games, go eat somewhere. We played basketball 2 days ago, so it was fun. Just 3-on-3 pickup.
How are you in basketball? You got to be dunking, right?
Well, I'm trying to. I was playing D more because I cannot shoot. I'm a really bad shooter. I cannot make it, but I'm locking D for sure.
There you go.
It's awesome. I mean, just Oh, I want to ask you about class. Obviously, there's not much like college hockey when it comes to junior hockey and moving up through the ranks. So how has been class? And obviously, after your first semester, how are you feeling when it comes to that?
I would say it's good. Obviously, there's a lot of support from the staff and everybody around it, and you just gotta have to do it. It's about discipline and it's about the willing to do it. And I think everybody has that. And for me specifically, it took some time to kind of get adjusted to that because obviously in the past few years I played junior hockey, and everybody kind of knows how that goes. You just do school as your third option. You just gotta like have it done basically. And right now you gotta actually focus on it, which is good. And as I said, yeah, it took me a while to kind of get it established and get my routine in, but I think everything's been good so far.
You have a favorite class this semester?
Probably sports management. Yeah, I was there with Hanny and Colette, and we enjoyed it when we got there. Good lessons.
Cool.
All right, so just want to, as we get towards the end here, I want to look ahead to the future. Obviously, this season, UMass 10-10 at the moment, probably not exactly where you'd like to be. So, I mean, what's the pressure like knowing that most of these upcoming games are must wins?
I don't think there's any pressure on the results specifically. Obviously, everybody has that in the back of our heads, but we're just trying to be a better team. And when we are at that place, we're gonna win, and we're eventually gonna get there. And there, obviously the ranks aren't what we kind of hoped for, but there's still hockey's playoffs, and there's still hope that we can get into that NPI. And I think we just gotta keep on focusing on ourselves, just get better at our game every single day. And when we do that, we're gonna have a great chance end of the year to eventually make that national championship.
All right, I got one last question for you. I mean, I'm actually up in New Hampshire right now on a little vacation, but I just went skating this past yesterday. Actually, it didn't go too well for me. I skated a long time ago. Got back into it yesterday. Do you have any beginners tips for me that you could share?
Uh, well, that's a good question. That's what I thought my girlfriend when we went skating together. You just gotta. I think you just gotta practice it. Honestly, just skate all over again. That's what I did when I was a kid. I just loved hockey, so I was skating all the time, and eventually kind of get the hold of it. I think that's the only info for that. Maybe.
John, were you holding on to the boards?
There was no boards. It was on a pond that
That's a
wasn't
progress then.
Zamboni.
That's good.
Yes, there wasn't. It was a mess. I didn't fall, luckily, so
That's
I'll be
good.
proud of that.
John, keep at it. Maybe coach will call you down one of these days if he needs an extra practice player. Might be 10 years from now, but
Uh, I think UMass would be in a lot of trouble if I was called to come play. But uh, Vaslav, thanks so much for joining us. Anything you'd like to add? I mean, got a couple of UMass fans watching this.
No, I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been supporting us. Obviously, keep doing that. We're gonna have a great second half of the year. I can promise you that. And just keep on watching, keep on supporting us. That's it.
awesome.
Thank you so much,
All right.
Vaslav. That was Vaclav Nestrasil joining us on the UMass Hockey Preview Show.
Thank you, guys.
So great to talk to Vaclav Nestrasil over this winter break, of course, when it comes to classes. But he's locked in, Jacob, ready for the next battle against Merrimack.
That's for sure. I'm locked in for this battle too, John. I haven't been in class in a while, but I'm ready to study this Merrimack team because there's a lot to talk about. They're 10-10, right around, actually a little bit higher than UMass in the Hockey East rankings. We've talked about this a lot, John. UMass is not where they want to be in the Hockey East rankings, but Merrimack, major reason why, similar to UMass, is because they played a lot of ranked games, 7 ranked games on the year. During that time, they have 1 win, 6 losses, so haven't really found their footing. However, they come into this game on a 5-game win streak. That goes back to December of last year. So if you believe that momentum can translate over, UMass is going to have to watch out for this Merrimack team. They play to their identity. They're usually an older team. Don't have too many stars on their team. Leading the way, you got to watch out for Trevor Hoskin, 19 points in 19 games. He's a point-per-game player. And then on the power play, Merrimack's one of the better teams in the nation, 11th in the nation. You got to watch out for number 11, Nick Pierre, 5 power play goals on the year. The good news for UMass, John, as you know, they're a really disciplined team. So that should bode well from them this weekend.
It'll be a good power play against a good power play. Should be fun to watch. A home and home series Friday and Saturday night. But Jacob, when you look at the next four games for the Minutemen, two against the Warriors, two against the Vermont Catamounts, that's an opportunity right there to pick up 12 points. And I think that is exactly what the Minutemen need to be thinking when it comes to these next two weekends.
That's exactly where my head was at. And John, you can fact check me. I think both games are at Vermont too. So that's two away games. Those are big games for the MPI ranking. So if UMass can battle, I mean, we haven't seen a series sweep since I believe it was the first series of the season, Northern Michigan, right?
Believe so.
So if you're UMass, you'd love two sweeps here. Coach Carvel's going to tell you it's one game at a time, but Michael Robel is playing some of his best hockey, and I think this is a chance for them to really put up an offensive torrent, if you will. And I want to ask you, John, is there anyone offensively that you think can come through or needs to come through here against two maybe lesser opponents than they've seen in the past couple months?
Well, I mean, you can talk so much about Vaclav Nestrasil and Jack Musa. Obviously, them two are probably going to have to score if UMass is going to want to win. But when it comes to that third and maybe even fourth goal, it's going to have to come from someone in that bottom six, I believe. And obviously, it's a little bit banged up, a little bit different with Van Tassel getting injured, and I don't think Cam O'Neill is exactly at his 100%. Maybe Bo Kosman as well, but that is what wins and loses hockey games as well. Lots of things win and lose hockey games, but if you don't get any additional scoring, you're probably not going to win many games unless Mike Robel is only letting in one goal per weekend. But you can't exactly expect that. Maybe you can against Merrimack in Vermont, but some goals from the bottom six. I can't give you one player, Jacob. Just the bottom six. I think they have to step up in this one.
For sure. And that's pretty much what Coach said this week. He said Jack Musa and Nestrasil can't be the only players scoring. So you need bottom six scoring, like you said, John. And it would be nice. You look at a lot of guys that haven't scored. O'Neill, you got Kosman, maybe even Mellenbacher as well. We'll see what the deal is with D'Angelo. If UMass can get that, they're a much more well-rounded team.
And they'll hope to be well-rounded. Obviously, three of the next four games on the road mentioned how important that is for NPI. But for this weekend, once again, Friday and Saturday night, Friday at Merrimack, Saturday in Amherst, should be a fun one to watch. So that's going to be all we have on this edition of the UMass Hockey Preview Show. It was a fun one. Had Nestrasil join us and looked back at BU and ahead to Merrimack. Don't miss the games this weekend. But from now, I'm John Ruggiero alongside Jacob Repper saying so long and see you next week.